Have an IT problem? We'll help you solve it on Solve IT TV. Today we'll hear some industry insights on AI from engineers Steve Wrona and Tony Bowles.
Hello, I'm Steve Wrona. I'm joined today with my coworker Tony Bowles.
Hey.
We're going to talk about AI, some of the things that we see working with our customers on a daily basis. Basically, we just want to kind of talk about, how we see AI from our point of view in the industry. Talk about really the most important part of an AI project. No surprises there. It's going to be the data you have to work with. AI is just like any other computer program, garbage in, garbage out. So we want to talk about the importance of getting your data ready. And finally, we're going to talk about how you can engage with Synnex to implement an AI project and what we can do to help make that successful. So, Tony, we've seen lots of different projects come through the pipeline, some successful and some not successful. From your point of view, what have you seen our partners' expectations at the beginning of an AI project? Have they changed as the project moved forward? And if so, what has been probably the biggest surprise that you've seen with partners working with AI?
Well, Steve, most of the partners that I've worked with, there's a lot of nervousness involved because, they've heard of this term AI or machine learning or whatever, and they don't really understand it yet.
Sure.
And, just like cloud was several years ago, they have opportunities. They don't know if it's AI or just regular analytics, and they're not sure, how to handle it. And one of the big things that we do at Synnex is we try to enable them, right? So we do training, and as you provided a number of times. So initially, the thing that's their biggest concern is how to have the conversation. How can we help them have the conversation? How do we help them make the customer feel confident in them?
Sure.
Right. And so, of course, we usually start out with, what's the customer's ask? And we preface all that with how to set a realistic frame of reference for customers' expectations, right? So does the customer have a specific question they want to answer? Do they have a specific task they want to perform? If it's really vague, like, hey, I want to improve my fill in the blank. Well, that's not specific enough, right? How, what is improvement defined as? How do we define success and stuff like that?
You have to have a real specific target in mind and build back from there.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So, one of the projects that comes to mind was something that happened early on in the pandemic. We had a customer that was in the retail space, or a partner was working with a customer there. And they wanted to try to find out what could they do with AI to change how they were working their business model. Traditionally, it was something they could handle on a spreadsheet. They knew what their peak seasons were, what their not so peak seasons were, and they knew how to account for variations in weather. And they were really hoping that AI would be this magic bullet to find what had changed on the pandemic. And, with working with them, it really turned out that it all came back to data. We had a situation where no one knew what was happening with the market. Everything was turned upside down, and we didn't have the key data to see how things were happening. But as we worked through the project, the data started kind of forming on its own. We were seeing new trends and seeing how the traditional busy days were impacted and what changes there were. And what they actually found out was, as they went through the process, that the data, as it developed on its own, they were able to use their existing tools and to just make some modifications to their process. So one of the biggest surprises I find is that a lot of times we don't need to make a large change for this project. We make a few tweaks to their business models, and something that they anticipated was going to be a very large-scale AI project turns out to be a really small manipulation to their existing data models. So one of the ways that we can help make these projects successful, we have an assessment we can do to validate that your data and your project is what you need to have for a successful project. We definitely want to make sure that the whole project from start to finish is a positive experience for our partner, for their end customers. And with our skewed offering, we can go in and look at this data, make sure they have that defined question, so we know what an answer should entail, and then we can back from there and make sure that the data that they have or additional data they may need to acquire would meet that. And it's for the cost of an average AI project, this particular SKU is a very minimal cost. And on the projects that we've implemented, it's been about 50-50 as to whether or not the project as is on its own would be successful. Sometimes we need to go back and tweak what the question is. Sometimes we need to find a little more data to bring in. So that might be government data. It might be sales trends from industry associations. And we take that sort of initial step to do a little insurance and make sure that we're going to move forward in the right direction. And some of the projects that I thought weren't going to be successful turned out to be some of the more successful projects, because we took that opportunity to slow down, make sure everybody was on the right page, and really set that target in stone and zero in on that. That gets to what I found to be the most important aspect of any AI project, and I'm sure you agree, is the quality of the data. If you don't have the right data, you can't find an answer. And so when you're looking to move forward with a project, we really need to make sure that your data is going to be ready to go. And that means making sure you've got the right plank holders involved, the right people who have the keys to the kingdom. Let them know that they may need to share some data with a department they're not necessarily sharing with. And I've seen some places where that causes a little bit of concern. Generally, it's on teams that don't always necessarily work well with others. So I found, again, it takes a lot of communication to bring all these people together. It may be seen as slowing the sales cycle, but it's another one of those steps you can take to sort of slow things down to make sure that the project will move faster as they go forward. Have you seen any times or any instances where maybe internal communications within a company has been a problem, or was anticipated to be a problem but came across then as something that was able to be addressed early on and to resolve the problem?
Yeah, I have. And there's a lot to unpack there also. As you know, we've put together some documentation and training around what we refer to as the AI process. And it details out all of the requirements to set for the customer to be set up to have the highest chance of success. I want to go back really quickly to something you started off with in that section, which was the customer had some sort of model, and then situation changed. We had a global pandemic or whatever. Now, obviously, that's a little bit bigger than a normal change, but it points out something that's critical and that's identical to every project, machine learning, deep learning, whatever, out there. And that is, your model is never static. So you start your training, you're gathering data. I mean, I'm not going to go over all of the steps of the AI process, but I want to drill in on this to make this point quickly. As the model is trained and validated and eventually rolled out to production, that model will see new data. The data itself will change over time, and the model will have to be able to evolve. So one thing that we make sure we point out is that a project using machine learning, even advanced analytics, or obviously deep learning as well, any project like that, it's never a static, okay, the job is done, here's the SOW is complete, and we're wiping our hand, or washing our hands up and we're done with it. No, that is not how it works. The model will always experience new data, has to be able to be modified to continue to give you the best accuracy on new data as it comes in. So it is part of for lack of a better word, you would call it DevOps base. That's where the ML ops actually comes from. That whole topic is taking new information in, tweaking, retraining the model, whatever you need to do to improve the model's accuracy, and then deploying the updated model. Absolutely. And have that entire process be as fluid and preferably as automated as possible as well.
And it does actually lend itself to a lot of continued service engagements. We are finding that really small shops that take advantage of AI don't have the dedicated resources to go in and tweak these models over time. And so they continue to engage their initial partners that they have that relationship with. And with that said, we're finding that the partners that have the best success with any size AI project really are the partners that have a very solid relationship with their customers. They know their customers' business, and they're sometimes able to help direct, where that early on target is for what they're looking for, and able to help them continue to massage and not really move the goalposts, but really to keep focusing in on how things are changing in the business. And so these projects really are long-term opportunities to build your relationships with your customers and really to become a very important part to how they do business. So with all that said, I'd like to just take a moment and explain, what we can do to help you, how we can work to make these projects more successful. I am funded through NVIDIA. My job is to help any machine learning, any AI project that has NVIDIA hardware or software involved. And what I like to do is get in early, try to make sure we're asking the right questions early on, maybe look at those skewed offerings we have to review the data and make sure everything's lined up properly. But also, I like to connect people. Tony represents one vendor. We have multiple vendors on my team. And a lot of times, I feel like I'm playing traffic cop to make sure we're getting these projects routed to the right people, whether we're bringing in another hardware vendor or we're bringing in some of our security people, whether that's physical camera-based security on buildings or it's straight up traditional IT security. We want to make sure that we're looking at these from a really holistic point of view. And as we mentioned earlier, they're very service-heavy engagements. And so
Absolutely.
It is an opportunity for you to shine and really take your relationship with your partners to another level. And we here at Synnex, we have plenty of resources to support you. We can start any level of interoperability with your partner. If you just want to have us in the background to bounce questions by, or you want to put us up in front of the customers themselves, we're very capable of hopping on a call and maybe someday getting on an airplane again and being able to do this in person. So any AI related questions, machine learning, anything along the board, even if it's, they're looking to move from a spreadsheet to something much more automated, we certainly have the resources and the people here to help you make that happen and make you successful in the eyes of your customers.
And also, don't forget about our extensive enablement services to help the resellers, build confidence in this space. When we started a number of enablement events over the years, customers have come in and there's always some new technology. Now today it's a little different. It's not, we're going to, a faster fiber channel speed or,
right.
Higher capacity disk or, multi-core processors. The stuff today is a little different, right? It's a lot of it's software based to some degree. And that is where the Synnex ServiceSolve enablement arm really shines. So beyond all the services, the post-sale services and design and consulting work that we provide, the enablement services we provide actually, I think, should not be overlooked.
Absolutely.
We're able to take, any customer by that, I mean reseller. Any reseller can come in. We are happy to do one-on-one or group workshops. We have a list, we start off with our primer thing, which takes you from zero to crawling, understanding the AI space and so
right.
forth. And then from there, we have a host of other personalized enablement opportunities. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, well, there's opportunity there, but that's just not our thing. Look into attending some of our enablement services. They're at no cost to you, and you don't really have anything to lose for possibly a little bit of time. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Fantastic. Well, Tony, appreciate your time today.
No problem.
Always love to have a chance to speak with my coworkers and talk about tech. I'm sure we'll be doing this again in the future. And I appreciate your time and look forward to helping all of you in the future with your AI and machine learning projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So remember, the next time you have an IT question, let us solve it.